So I have a lot of friends who believe in God, and if you talk to them long enough, when I talk to them long enough and get to know them deep enough, it always comes out why they need the story. I'm not saying there isn't a God. I just don't have a story, so I don't know if there's one or not. But it's amazing how our emotions are so intense and sometimes so hard to handle that we need to add a story so that they're easier to handle. I think this is why the ego death is so hard for some. I'll speak for myself. It was really hard for me because I had a lot of stories, because I had a lot of emotional trauma, and stories helped me cope. Now, when you start working through your emotions and seeing that there's nothing there but sensations that you were scared to feel, you feel them, the stories disappear with them, and then you're kind of left in this void place where there's nothing. There's no stories, there's no meaning, and that could be scary, but I don't think it stays that way forever. I'm sort of at the tail end of that now. I'm realizing that I don't need stories to have meaning. I say I, but like when you really think about me as a person, the self, the I, that doesn't exist. So what keeps that alive are stories. The stories keep the sense of self alive, and the sense of self always filters reality. And if you have a sense of self with a lot of intense, strong stories that you believe are true, you are seeing the world through that. You're not seeing the world how it is. You're seeing them through your stories. So I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a pastor, Christian. Love him. He's amazing. Maybe one of the best guys I know. But I was explaining to him some of the stuff I was going through because I had given up my religion because I didn't believe the story anymore. I wasn't believing any stories. Everything was just falling away. And I got kind of stuck in this place, or I was moving through this place of meaninglessness where nothing had meaning. And that was the darkest, most intense part of this phase of the ego death. And he looked at me and said, I refuse to believe that there's no meaning. Which makes perfect sense. I think most people would agree with that. But now looking back, the place that I have come to, this place of peace and absolute lived experience without a story. The story is being created in every moment, with every step I take. I have nowhere to be, I have nowhere to go, nothing means anything. But as I do and live and act, that is the meaning. Not the story, not what I do. It's hard to explain. When you have no story, you're creating your story every second. But if you're not holding on to it, it's being created and let go of at the same instant. So there's complete freedom to do and create whatever you want. But I had to go through the real experience, not the thoughts, the real lived, felt experience of absolute meaninglessness to then get to where I'm at now, which is meaning is in every second. And it's so deep, sometimes I just weep because it's so intense and so beautiful. And I often think about his phrase. And as a Christian pastor, I think he should believe that. That's probably needed for what he does. But it's just striking because if you don't have, I'm not speaking against him in any way, I just want to make that clear. But if you don't have the courage to face meaninglessness, then you will always hold to a story that gives you meaning. And you will never fully experience reality unfiltered. Which honestly, I get that. It's it's easier, it's more comfortable. I mean, there's studies that show that people in religion are happier. Happiness was never my goal. I wanted truth. But like religion, a story, something that gives your life meaning, is very helpful to the human experience as a whole. But if you want this no ego experience, unfiltered reality, peace that surpasses understanding, because there's no understanding, it's it's surpassed understanding. It's in a different category. There's understanding, and then there's peace. God, it's beautiful out here. Like, you could never experience hate your whole life. You could just be a loving person, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you take someone who has experienced hatred, either in themselves or towards themselves, and they knew what that felt like, decided to create the opposite, became a loving person, became someone that shared love to others. They know the difference. They know hatred and love. So it makes the love more intense, stronger. There's a reason behind it. I think every human shares the experience of knowing what it is like to suffer because of our thoughts and our ego. But it does seem like it takes, not that I'm courageous, I think this happened to me on accident, quite honestly. I mean, I was seeking for truth, but I'm not in charge of the process anymore. It's just going. But at first, it takes a pretty intense courage. Like, you will hit roadblocks where you can decide, okay, I'm gonna turn back now because this is too much, and build a story from here. And I'll live my life based on this story because this is easier. This seems right. This is good. And you can do that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But to keep going, to go through the hardest, darkest, most intense, real felt experiences, not ideas, not thoughts. You are living through the hard stuff. That is what breaks down your ideas and your ego and your sensations. All these things that we feel and think that are combined, feeling and thinking are hand in hand, get broken down. It's the hardest, loneliest thing you will ever do. But wow, I don't know if there's a peace like this that I experience now every day. I don't know if that exists in story. So my friend, he's a Christian, he loves God, he's a pastor, obviously. He seems to have peace. He's a very loving guy. And I don't know his experience. I don't know what he's feeling in his body in any given moment. I never will. But if you have a story, it seems like you always have a limitation on peace. Because if something goes against your story or something you experience doesn't fit into your story, there's going to be this jarring effect where you have to then choose that experience or your story. It creates a split, creates duality, and that's what creates unrest, unpeace. Unpeace? I'm making up words again. Uh, when you have no story, there's no duality because everything's the same. There is just lived experience. And you can maintain peace through anything and everything that happens, good, bad, ugly, because there is no good, bad, or ugly, because you don't have a story about it. I hope that made sense. And that my phone is taking a video, because the last little rant I didn't even have record on. Okay. I'll stop there.